Hey guys, welcome back to Mo's Game Table. Today we're going to take a look at Men of War, Solitaire Tactical Book War Game, Module 1, Rhodesian Bush War, Forward Together. This is a game designed by Joe Fernandez and published by Art of War Games. Now I've just done a preview of this and we talked about what is in this book game. I've made some counters. Not the greatest counters ever, but hey, my crafting skills when I'm doing a quick counter is not going to be the best, but they're functional. And what I want to do is I played it last night and I wanted to play another game of this and show you how the game works and give you my first impressions of it so far. Now this first scenario really is very simplistic, and it's that way to make it where you can get into the game and understand the mechanics of it very easy. It's not a difficult game to understand, and this first scenario helps solidify the mechanics. And this scenario is pretty straightforward. You have your African rifle units here on the eastern side of the map. They've got to sweep western and take out these insurgent units here, these guerrilla units. The only way you're going to lose is if the guerrilla units get one unit. That's all you have to do is just get one unit off the map on the western edge. Of course, if you run out of time, that can also cost you the game, but you've got 7 turns, plenty of time to get these guys, take them out. When you look at it, you're like, wow, that's a lot of space to cover before these guys get off the map. But the only way they'll activate is if they're in line of sight of you. So you need to make sure that you use cover and don't allow them to see you. If you can see them, they can see you, and you don't want them to see you, because if they do, then they can act. But even if they can act, they don't always necessarily act in a way that's going to be beneficial to them, taking them off the map. You've got what they call postures. And you roll a d6 on a 1 through 3. They go in a defensive posture. They just hunker down and engage you. If the roll is 4 or 5, they get into an offensive posture. So they're going to move towards you and attack. The roll of 6 is the one you don't want in this scenario. The roll of 6, they disengage. When they disengage, they move 2 hexes away from you. So that means 2 hexes towards the western side of the map. This one here with the guerrilla leader is the furthest west. They've only got 2 hexes till they're at the edge of the map. One more activation, they're off the map. If you don't get them by that time, it's game over, man, and you lose. So you do have plenty of time to get across the map as long as you use the terrain. And that's one of the things I really do dig about this is these are guerrillas. They're not trained units. You have trained units. So you're going to move more cautiously, smarter, use terrain, use cover concealment to get into an advantageous position to engage these guys, to seek them out and engage them. These guys are just going to stand around smoking and joking until they see you. Then they'll do something. They'll react. They'll either just drop down and shoot, or they'll run at you and shoot, or they'll run away. But that's all decided by a 1d6 roll. And I think that's kind of neat. It's a pretty simple way of allowing the player to have a solitaire game and have there be some form of human element to it for the AI, for the bot. And the other thing I like about it is it forces you as the gamer to look at the map and see the terrain better instead of just running right up the middle like I tend to do. I love doing that. But you want to make sure that you're using the terrain to your advantage. And like I said, it's a pretty cool way of forcing you into that. So what we're going to do is start things off. We're going to take this northernmost team. This consists of an African Rifles fire team and a leader. Quick note here, there are 3 numbers, not sure if you can see it. Maybe I can try zooming in here to show you and give you a better explanation. All right, we've got the African Rifles fire team. The numbers from left to right are the firepower, which is 4, and 3 are the action points. The dashed line there on the right-hand side is the rally check. We're not going to worry about that right now. The numbers below that are if the unit is halved. They take 2 hits, they're going to be 2, 2, 2 across the board. So 2 firepower, 2 actions, and 2 on the rally check. You've got the leader on the left-hand side there. The leader has a +1 for both the firepower and +1 for actions. With the leader attached, this leader can give you either +1 to your firepower or +1 to your actions. So these guys get 3 actions. They can get a maximum of 4, or they have 4 on the firepower. They can get a maximum of 5. The other thing that's kind of neat is the leader can also pass that benefit to another unit by using the radio action. Picks up the radio and he gives a boost over here to these guys that don't have a leader. They'll get a +1 to their actions or a +1 to their firepower. But that means the unit that he's attached to does not get that benefit on that turn. And the other thing I did not mention, beneath that, we have a smoke grenade. So that'll just break your LOS. Basically, it blocks it for 1 hex. You have to throw it, and you only get a 1 hex distance. Each of these hexes is 25 meters, so you just chuck it 25 meters in front of you, you block line of sight to you, which in this instance might be a good thing to use. But we'll have to wait and see if that's what's going to happen. So what we're going to do is I've got 3 actions for these guys, plus 1 if I use the leader. So they're going to use 4 actions. So they're going to move 1 hex into clear, which is a 1. And over here on the right-hand side, we've got our terrain effects chart. We'll kind of go over that real quick. When you move from clear to clear, it's 1 point, 1 movement point. When you go to up a hill, which is what we have to traverse here, it's going to be 2 up, 1 down. But this one also has heavy brush. Heavy brush on its own is a +2. But here, the hill and brush is 3. So it's going to be 1 to move in here and then 3 to move up. So we'll move them up into the hill here, and that will finish their turn. And we've got 3 other units here. We've got 2 units stacked. You have a max stacking of 2 units per hex. Leaders don't count. Squad weapons don't count either. So what we've got here is we've got a leader, a fire team, they've got a light machine gun, and a frag grenade is what they've got in this stack. And then the stack beneath that is just a fire team and a light machine gun. This one is going to be a fire team and a frag grenade. So we're going to put these guys all back up. And we're going to move this unit up here. He's got 3 action points, 1, 2, 3. He is not in line of sight to anybody. He's got that hill blocking him. The hill blocks him also from this gorilla, so no one can see him. Now we're going to take this one. He's going to go 1, 2, 3. He's also going to finish in this same hex. We'll just put that under the finish there. And then these guys are going to use their leader, so they're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And they will be right there. Mark them as finished, and we're done. So we're going to move on to the second turn. We're going to clear off these finished markers, and then we roll for initiative again. Roll is a 3, so we get the initiative this time. Last time they had initiative, and being that they couldn't see anybody, they didn't do anything. Now this time we get to activate first, and we want to make sure that we stay out of line of sight until we are ready to engage. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to move this unit down here. 1, going to move him 2, and we're going to pop smoke. All right, so I'm just going to leave that there as a reminder that we pop smoke. That's going to block the line of sight from this guerrilla unit here to that African rifle unit in that hex, so that way they can't see them, so they're not going to activate, they're not going to get a response and change their posture. These guys over here, that's going to be our main target this time. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this leader and this machine gun and the grenade. We're going to move, well, we're going to wait first. We're going to take these other guys. That's what I want to do. Take them with the machine gun. So they're going to move 1, 2. So now they're going to be in line of sight of these guys if they don't take them out this time, and they're going to fire. They're going to set up the attack for the fire team with the leader, who's going to chuck a grenade in and then go in to melee. So these guys are going to fire. They've got a 4 firepower, plus 1 for the light machine gun, so a 5. What you got to do is roll a 1d10, and if you roll 5 or less, it's a hit. We roll a 4, so they do get 1 hit. And these guys are marked finished. I could fire move and go into melee if I wanted to, but I'm not going to, and I'll show you why here in a second. So we're going to move this other fire team up right next to him. A little ham-fisted here, knocking stuff out of the way. Then we're going to chuck a grenade. The grenade is a 5 firepower, range 1. So same thing. We roll that 1d10, and we roll a 1. So they get a second hit. What you do then is you take this and you replace it with Guerrilla Team. So they're halved. They go from 4 down to 2. So that's advantageous to us as we're going into melee. So now we move into the same hex. I'm going to move this over here. Let's take the grenade out of here. And now they're in the same hex for melee. Melee is pretty simple. You basically take a 1d10 for each side. You roll the 1d10 and you add your strength. For the guerrilla team, they've only got 2. For the African rifles, they've got a 4. They also get a +2 for the leader. So we're going to roll our 1d10. We get a 6 for the African rifles and a 2 for the guerrilla team. So 2 + 2 is 4. 6 + 4 is 10, + 2 is going to give them a 12, 12 to 10, or 12 to 2. These guys are eliminated. Pretty straightforward. These guys are now in their spot. Put finished on there to mark them finished. Now these guys, I'm going to leave them here. I think, no, they're going to move up because we've got the smoke there to give them a break, so they're not going to be seen either. So now everyone is finished, and we'll see if anybody can see through line of sight. They cannot, so that's the end of the turn because remember, we won the initiative. The guerrillas go second, and we want to see if they can do anything they can't because they have no line of sight. So now we move on to the next turn. Oh, wait a second. I'm incorrect there. This guerrilla unit can see me. So now we're going to roll a 1d6. They roll a 1, so their defensive posture is they're going to have a defensive posture. They're going to hunker down. They're going to fire. And they have a firepower of 3. They also have a machine gun, so it gives them a +1. So that's 4. They roll a 3. So I do take 1 hit. And the interesting thing is here, that's the leader. So we got to roll a 1d6 and see if a leader takes a hit. No, the leader only takes a hit on a 6. So the unit, not the leader, will take the hit. And there's one other little aspect I didn't mention that I will mention now. There was an RPG-7 with that unit that they took out in melee. We're going to leave that there because you can spend 1 action point and pick up that weapon if you'd like to. And being that these guys have a light machine gun, they're not going to. Maybe one of these other units might go in there and take it, but just going to leave it there. So put that leader back on top. And we will continue on. All right, so we start off with turn 3. We roll for initiative, and we roll a 1. And that means we have the initiative. So what we're going to do is we've got these rifles here. They've got a grenade. We've got the team with the leader. We've got this other team with the leader that has a machine gun. So let's see. I'm going to use these guys as the base of fire. These are going to be the maneuver elements and try to see who can melee that guy. Now, when we get in there in melee, that means this guy's going to be in line of sight, so he may start beating feet if he gets a roll of 6 on his posture change. So that's something to keep in mind. So we're going to fire with the leader. He's got the +1. So it's a 5. 4 + 1. +1 is going to be 6 with that LMG. And he rolls a 2. So there is going to be a hit on that guerrilla unit. We've got this unit here. They're going to move 1, 2. They've got 3 action points. They're going to toss their grenade, which is an attack of 5. They have an attack of 4, so it's better off them throwing a grenade. So we're going to take this grenade out, roll a 1d10. They roll a 6. So their throw sucks. It rolls up, hits the hill there and rolls back down. And they're in just on a hill. They're not in a hill in a bush. And the hill and bush will not give you anything for a DRM. And neither will a hill. Both of them are 0. So that grenade was wasted. Now these guys are going to have... They've got the leader 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're going to run up here and go into melee. So we're just going to take that out of the way. So now they're down to 3. Their total firepower or total strength is at 3. Remember, we're going to roll 2d10, add the 2 together, and see how it turns out. So we've got Oh, I rolled it over. It was a 3 and a 2. 3 for the African rifles and 2 for the guerrillas. So it's 2 plus 3 is 5. They've got 3 plus 4 is 7, plus 2 for the leader is 9. So these guys are taken out. And we can drop that light machine gun there, leave that there. The leader is there, and they're going to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, they don't have any more action points, so they're finished. And so are these guys. I'm going to knock these things all over the place here. As are these guys. And these guys still have to act. They're going to just run up that hill. So they're going to spend their 3 action points running up the hill, and we'll mark them as finished. Now, we got a roll for this guy here, and he gets a 2, which puts him in defensive, and he's going to roll his attack, which is going to be a 3 plus 1 is 4, and they roll a 2. So my guys take a hit, and I got to roll a 1d6, see if the leader takes a hit. It's a 3, so the leader does not. The hit goes only to the unit, not the leader. So we'll take that, put that back. He's finished too. We're not even going to put it down. So that is the end of that turn, and we will move on to the next turn. All right, so we're in turn 4. Let's roll a 1d6. I get the initiative, so this is really going to be huge for me now. I'm going to leave that there, I think. That machine gun. Don't have any more grenades. I'm down to 1. You know what? Maybe I will pick up that machine gun. These guys are going to spend 1 action point. They're going to fire, or to pick up that light machine gun. That's going to give them a +1. So they get a 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 1 is 6 on the attack. And we roll a 1d10. They roll a 3. So we get 1 hit on these guys. Then we're going to roll a 1d6 to see if the leader takes it. It's a 4. Now it goes to the unit, not to the leader. So we're going to put that there on the unit. So that unit is down to 3 strength now from the 4 strength. Let's put that back on top there. And then they're going to, let's go in there and melee. See if we can take these guys out. So we're both down 1 casualty wise, so we're going to be even at 3 strength each, and they have a leader, so they're going to get a +2 as well. So we're pretty much fighting straight up and see who gets the higher die roll. So they get a die roll of 1. My guys get a die roll of 3. So it's essentially 3 to 1, because remember, we've each gotten 1 hit on our units. We get the +2 for the leaders. That's all a wash, and it comes down to a straight die roll. So it's 3 to 1, and the African rifles will defeat this last guerrilla unit, knock them off the map, and they've swept the area clear. And that will be it for this scenario. So that gives you a quick look at how the game plays. Now, like I said, I think it's pretty neat how the activations you don't have any flow charts or anything like that to see, oh, well, if the unit is this type of unit, they'll do this. If they've got a leader, they'll do that, so on and so forth. It really comes down to line of sight. And again, they're guerrilla units. They're not highly trained. You have African rifles. They're properly trained units. They're going to be acting like a proper military. Going to be using cover and concealment. They're not going to let the guerrillas see them. These guys are just kind of chilling out, hanging out, smoking and joking, and looking for trouble, obviously, but they're not going to act in the same way that a trained military unit will. If they see you, however, they will jump to and get involved in the action, either defensively, offensively, or they'll just run away. So pretty simple way of modeling some human action in the game, and it moves really quick. You see how fast the game plays. It plays faster if I'm not sitting here trying to explain it to you. It's a little late and I'm a little tired, so I hope that I didn't stumble too much in my explanations, but that is a quick look at scenario 1. Oh, and one last note here. I did make one error on the engagement over here. Remember, I got this guerrilla unit that was in D5. They attacked over to here. Well, the other unit with the guerrilla leader should have had line of sight to this unit here at the top of the hill, because they are on the same level. I assumed, and that's why you don't assume, that there was brush in that hex. So it would have been brush on top of the hill, which would have blocked line of sight from that back unit. But that was one mistake I made. It possibly could have led to a posture change, which could have been disengagement, and they would have been able to get off the map. But hey, you know what? We make mistakes as we play these games. I'm just going to go with it as is. But I did want to point out that I did catch that mistake and wanted to make note of it. So that way, when you're playing, always make sure you check your terrain. And one other note about that smoke that I dropped here. It does feel kind of gamey to me, but at the same time, you have to remember, tactical movement does mean you need to use cover and concealment. If you have to move across an open area, you're going to throw some smoke if you can, at least to obscure your movement somewhat. So while that would have technically activated the unit, it would have also blocked line of sight, so that unit would not have been able to see. So in that way, it does maybe feel a little bit gamey, but it is a valid tactical move. One way I was thinking about maybe kind of messing with it a little bit is if you do something like that, it will activate the unit. Maybe they just fire in with a -1 modifier on their attack. Just something to play around with, something to think about. So far, I think it's a fun little game, and looking forward to playing some more. And we'll see if I can throw out another video here in the next couple days on maybe 1 or 2 other scenarios. Well, I hope that helps you guys out if you'd be curious about this one. If you have any comments or questions, post them down below. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time.